people would say, you know, why are you in the entertainment industry? I would always say, I want people to feel through me what they can't necessarily access on their own, right? And while that's still true, what's even more true for me is for a long time, I was sort of in the hands of the industry. So when my agent would say, all right, you're gonna go in and audition for the hot girl, you have 2 lines, I would do it. I was like, okay, now I'm like, no, I am more in charge of my destiny. I have a choice, and I'm going to do the things that light me up. And when I do that, I will be in flow. And when you're in flow, you're inspired. And when you're inspired, you're in spirit. So like, that's what I choose to do. I choose to do the things that are a hell yes for me. And through doing that, may that inspire others to do the same. And then that like creates a happier world. When we're all doing the things that fill us up, who's gonna be sad?
Dear my love, I have missed you dearly, but I am so proud of you. The self-work and love you have achieved in this lifetime is truly a gift to witness. I love being with you every day. Living this beautiful life experience with you has been the most rewarding experience for me. I am in awe of all that you are and all that you are becoming. You never cease to amaze me. Honestly, I thank God for you. You've overcome so many things that could have kept you down or stuck. But you know, girl, we got this. Your light is too bright to be hidden, and I'm so glad you finally recognized this. I love it, and I'm here with you. I'm so grateful that you continue to spread your light in this world, because the world needs it. The world needs you. The world needs your light. Your impact is changing lives. Believe that I see you. I hear you. I feel you. Remember, you're never alone. Nothing is wrong with you. You are right where you need to be. Everything you desire is here, and it's coming abundantly to you with love. Keep going. The time is now, so enjoy all of it. You deserve it. Smile and receive. I'm so proud of you, Leticia. We got this. I love you to the moon and back. Love big. Love strong. Love always. With love.
We're spending most our lives as an absolute paradise. And baby, we got love. Why can't we keep it safe enough? It's not so easy, gonna keep us busy. I work hard, I play hard, I leave in the love and it gets caught.
Hey guys, my name is Noel Elie. I am an actress and director and run a production and PR company. And today on Live Through Love, I talk with Ruben about all things health, wellness, listening to your intuition, and love. Tune in.
So Noel, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Live Through Love Studios.
Thank you. I like it.
This is where the paint magic happens and the voice magic happens.
Nice.
Getting to meet really awesome, cool people.
Amazing.
So I appreciate your time. So who are you? Let me get to know you a little bit here and have our listeners know who you are.
Yeah. Well, my name is Noel Elie, and I have been living in LA officially for like 3 years. I lived in New York for about 16 years before that. I'm an actress, I'm a director, and I have a production and PR company. And I moved to LA for work. I kept coming out here for like a decade. I was basically bi-coastal, but my home base was in New York. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, like, what am I doing? I want sunshine. I want the beach. So I switched. And when I moved to LA, my acting career was really taking off. And then I got sick. And I got really sick. And so through a series of events, I found out that I had Lyme disease, co-infections of the Lyme disease. It's like 6 co-infections, mold toxicity, Epstein-Barr, parasites, and fibroid tumors, all of which I knew very little about. But I kind of was bedridden. And through plant medicine and a lot of other healing modalities, I discovered that the home I was living in LA, had toxic mold. And so it was feeding the fibroid tumors, activating the Lyme disease and the co-infections and all these things. So my husband and I had to get rid of every single thing we owned.
Ooh.
Everything. Art, books, furniture, everything, clothes, memories, all of it. And move and find a toxic-free, mold-free home. So we have, and in the process, I've taken about 6-7 months off of working completely to focus on healing. And I am in this place now where I'm ready to be creative again and get those juices flowing. But it's been a minute of chaos.
Yeah, I could imagine. And I can imagine what, you were saying we were just, my acting career just started taking off. And then I get sick with something that you know very little of, which isn't very apparent.
Yeah.
But actually, more and more and more, we're hearing about toxic mold.
Totally. It's an epidemic that people just, rarely talk about or know about.
So you probably know a lot of stuff about it now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So how common is it in homes? Is this something that if you're going to go buy a house or move into something, you should actually really be proactive about?
I say yes. So anyone with a healthy immune system can be around mold for the most part and be fine. But what happens is a lot of times people have autoimmune issues that they have no idea about. And so all of a sudden they've moved into a home and they get this skin rash, or they're losing their hair, or chronic back pain, or anxiety, depression, tired but wired. All of these symptoms happen. But for me, I excused it all. Of course my back hurts. I'm running around with 1,200 bags going to audition, or I've done something weird in yoga. Of course my hair is falling out. I'm stressed. I work right? So we make excuses for why our body is seemingly breaking down when actually our body is trying to alert us and tell us, hey, something's off. So I always there's a whole protocol that I have now. So I have a mold expert come in. There's a test called an ERMI test you can do. There's so many things you can do, but I am basically a walking mold barometer. So I can literally walk into a space and within 10 minutes, my body will tell me if there's mold.
Are we safe here?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
We're going to go to my house later.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But, so to answer your question, yes, I think it's something people should be aware about, especially if you have children, especially new babies, things like that. But it can also be a mental, a complete mind fuck, truly. So you just have to tune in and figure out what your body needs, what your soul needs, and kind of go from there. But it's a very intuitive process because one mold expert can say, oh, it's fine. There's mold, but you're fine. And then your body can be telling you something different. So you really have to tune in to determine which way to go.
Might be fine for their tolerance, not for yours.
Right. Exactly.
So that led you to having to get rid of everything. And when you said that, I was kind of freaking out a little bit. Not that I have a lot of things, but I take pride in the things I do have.
Oh, yeah. And I had a lot of things and I loved my things. Yeah. It was brutal.
So what was the process of surrendering to all of that?
Honestly, plant medicine helped me. So I had many moments of breaking down because my mom passed away in 2016 and she was my best friend. So I had stuff from her, that I did not want to let go of. And so I got down to it took me 2 months to get rid of everything. And there were bags of clothes, bags of memorabilia that I just did not want to let go of. And I went to a plant medicine ceremony. And in the ceremony, my intention was to release my attachment to things. And so I grieved the whole ceremony. I grieved the things. And I was fine. And through the ceremony, I heard, let go. And so I got out of the ceremony. I told my husband, I said, okay, these bags of things, we have
to release them. And so we went through outside these bags of things and said, okay, this is going to Goodwill. This is, we can give away, this we can sell, this has to be trashed. And while we were going through the things, I started getting heart palpitations. My husband's asthma started acting up, and all of these symptoms started showing up. And we were outside in the middle of
Yeah.
And so it just goes to show you, we were super sensitive, and thank God we listened, because had we brought those things into our new home, it could have contaminated the new home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, have you always been extra sensitive to certain things?
No.
It was just
I maybe, and I wasn't aware of it, like maybe, because I remember like 10 years ago, I was talking to one of my best friends and we were talking about food. And I was like, I don't know what I want to eat. And she goes, just ask your body. I was like, what? Oh, I can ask. Maybe this was like 15 years ago, but I was like, I can ask my body. So I think maybe my body was alerting me, but I just didn't know how to listen. Right? Now I know how to listen.
Yeah. And it's really hard. We have all this noise around us. And sometimes the intuition that kicks in, we're almost programmed to ignore it.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, let's say it's food. My body's craving X. And like, no, especially if you're on a diet or trying to lose weight, you're like, no, that's my trigger. I don't need to be craving that right now or whatever. I'm like, no, you really need some fruit. Like your body really needs it.
Yeah.
Or in anything, in self-doubt, in our careers, in acting and creating. So it's really interesting to find that we don't listen to our internal conversations, our internal voice, because we're so worried about the noise around us.
It's so true. And it's also, we're worried about like what people are going to think and the noise. And what's interesting is throughout this process, I was set to go to New York to see a doctor. It was like $30,000 to get treated, not covered by insurance. It was a lot of money, right? And the night before I was supposed to go, something said, don't go. I was like, what? Don't go. And I didn't hear anything else. Don't go. And literally it was like midnight. My flight left at 6 a.m. And I stopped packing and I told my husband, I'm not going. He was like, what? Don't you want to heal? And by the way, I was also filming a documentary. So the crew was there. Everything was lined up. And I said, I don't know why I'm not supposed to go. So I don't go. And again, he's like, don't you want to heal? I'm like, of course I do, but I can't. So I don't go. And I don't know how, maybe a few weeks after is when we found out our home had toxic mold. And had I gone, and I called my doctor and told her, and she said, Noel, thank God you listened to your intuition. Had you come out here, you would have gotten better. You would have spent that money, and then you would have gone back to your home and gotten sick all over again. And so now when I hear something, I have to listen, because if I don't, even when it doesn't make sense and there's no like logical reason for why it is the way it is, if I don't listen, it doesn't serve me. So I try to listen. And the best way to listen is like pause, ask the question, silence the mind. But it's like, I'd rather be like messing around on Instagram or like, it's hard.
You like your phone is buzzing. Ooh, what's that?
Yeah, I'm tuning in, but wait,
But that's also, that you talk about the universe is always acting for us. It's not acting against us.
Yeah.
We're acting against her. We're acting against God, whatever your belief is in.
Yeah.
And that's part of life. So like we're too busy trying to be in the rat race and forget that we get to be in life. It doesn't have to just be go, go, go. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
So right now you're saying you're getting ready to get back out there. You're getting ready to get creative again. You're getting ready to act and share stories and be you.
Yeah.
What has this journey, or what is that message you really want to get out now being and going through this journey?
Oh man. I mean, I always would say when people would say, why are you in the entertainment industry? I would always say, I want people to feel through me what they can't necessarily access on their own. Right. And while that's still true, what's even more true for me is for a long time, I was sort of in the hands of the industry. So when my agent would say, all right, you're going to go in and audition for the hot girl, you have 2 lines, I would do it. I was like, okay, now I'm like, no, I am more in charge of my destiny. I have a choice, and I'm going to do the things that light me up. And when I do that, I will be in flow. And when you're in flow, you're inspired. And when you're inspired, you're in spirit. So like, that's what I choose to do. I choose to do the things that are a hell yes for me. And through doing that, may that inspire others to do the same. And then that like creates a happier world. When we're all doing the things that fill us up, who's going to be sad? You know, I mean, right? Like relatively.
But it's also, previously it's acting out of fear and scarcity. Oh, I'm getting an opportunity, whatever it is.
I have to do it. Yeah.
Like I remember I've done some shirtless hot guy in the scene
Right.
without any lines. I'm like, okay, but that's the stepping stones to go to wherever you're trying to go.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, that's not the message I want to live. Like, now I'm living out of abundance. I'm living out of my intention, and I'm moving forward, and it'll take you down another path.
Totally. And it just feels better. I remember there was one role that I did and I was so excited. And then I filmed on set and it was a big thing. And after there was this void. And I was like, what was that? Oh, I did this thinking this was going to be the thing that would make me feel this way. When in reality, if I'm not filling my cup up by myself, nothing is going to fill that, you know?
Yeah, it's like a hangover. It's expectation hangover.
Totally.
I do this, I'm expecting this, and and then it doesn't happen. You have the huge letdown.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the tools to realize
Right.
what happened, then you're spiraling, and it's consistently happening. All of a sudden, we're victims, and we're unworthy, and we have this new dialogue.
And that's one thing lately, the last few months I've been working on in plant medicine ceremonies is victimhood. And it sucks. It's easy to be like, this person did this. Aren't you mad at them with me? Right? Yeah. It's easier to do this.
Super
but
easy.
Instead, I keep going, okay, what within me is wounded? What within me needs healing? You know, and so victimhood is something that is uncomfortable, but beautiful.
Yeah, equally, especially acknowledging it. But it is easy to be the victim, and it's easy to gather a group of friends to all be victims together.
Yeah,
it's really hard to gather that tribe of, let's take personal responsibility.
Right.
Let's look into what are we resisting here? What is the issue?
Yeah, let me clean up my side of the street.
Yeah.
I
love that.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What's happening right now?
Oh, man. So my husband has, so funny. So my husband's an actor and a writer, and we've been together for 17 years. And for so many years, I was like, why don't you, because he also sings. I'm like, why don't you write me songs? Why don't you do this? And he wrote a film for me. And it's beautiful. And it's a dream. And so it took 17 years, but hey, I'll take it. It's amazing. So we are working on that. And then I'm also working on a television show with one of my best friends. And it's around healing modalities, integrative healing modalities. So that's happening. I'm also writing a book. And I'm also looks like I'm going to Hawaii to do a 2-week fast. So
2-week fast.
2-week fast, yeah.
You nervous about it?
Am I nervous about it? Yes and no. I guess I'm more nervous about the unknown, just because I've never been to this facility or worked with this facilitator. So there's just unknowns that I'm like, but I would say the nervousness is more excited. And it's more of a feeling, you know?
Okay. And so what type of fast is it? What's gonna happen
it's juicing, and it involves colonics as well. So it'll be 2 weeks of juicing and colonics. And I have friends that have been to this place, and they say, thousands and thousands of miracles have happened here. So I'm hoping for a miracle.
Well, if you believe in it, which sounds like you do, you never know what's going to happen.
That's right. And who doesn't love Hawaii? It's it's a dream. So, yeah.
It's a gorgeous country.
Yeah.
So is it just that, or is there more to it? Is there going to be meditation? Is there journal? Is there staying off your phone? Do you have any other intentions for it?
I'm actually going to go with my dad, my 63-year-old father. So he has some health stuff going on, and He's so special to me. So we're going to go, and I'm going to teach him sort of my daily routine of what I do. So every day I wake up, I talk to my body. I thank her for being healthy and digesting fully, and, sort of like rub her and love her. And then I do breath work. And then I do meditation, and then I journal. So for me, I have at least an hour that I try to dedicate to all the self-love I can possibly do. So I want to share that with him. And then I want him and myself to get back in touch with nature. I recently went to Colombia and sat with the Kogi tribe. And have you heard of the Kogis?
Colombian.
Stop it. So you know.
Yeah.
Okay. So the beautiful thing about what I learned from them is how we don't listen to nature. We don't attune ourselves. And I was there for 2 weeks just getting back in touch with that. And so my hope is that I can introduce some of those philosophies with my dad.
And, knowing I have parents at that age group and other friends in their generations, is he really open and receptive? Or have you been working on this to get him to this point?
I have been, it's interesting. I think back in the day, he was much more open. And as he's gotten older and, he's been through a lot of hardships and lost my mom in 2016, there's a little bit of a stubbornness and a very black and white way of thinking. And I live in gray. So it's taken, some finessing. But yeah, so it's my hope that once because he also lived in Hawaii and is Hawaiian and loves Hawaii. So I feel like a sense of peace and calmness is just going to come over him. And hopefully he'll be a little bit more open to my sharings.
Yeah, I mean, the way you're going to show up is probably going to be the best way for him to experience that.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people I speak to in our demographic, and we want to have those conversations with our parents and start taking the responsibility we're learning to take. Shift all the programming you have had. Right. It is a struggle, and I've found it to be a struggle, with my parents and just having even with just speaking to older people and with everything going on right now.
Yeah. And I actually yesterday morning, I received a message because my dad is my biggest trigger. He's my biggest, God bless him. He's also my reflection. Right. So he's my biggest teacher. And what I heard yesterday when I was meditating is, if you want to get through to your father, come from a curious nature. You can't tell him what is. He will not listen to that. Ask him questions, show him, and let him come up with a solution. So you can have the solution. Doesn't mean you need to tell him the solution. Let him coax him into finding his solution himself. So it's a reminder of, even though, because I'm sure you feel this way too with your parents, sometimes it's like, but just listen, right? Okay. Just be, show,
Yeah. That's the thing. It's funny because in other work that I've done, and that trick is something you do with controlling people, but also with men. You want to lead men to the point of, oh, this is the answer.
Right.
Because then we'll also feel accomplished. And
right.
What we're wired to be. So it feels like a win for us. And then it's a win-win on both sides.
Totally. And it's such a lesson for me too, because living in New York for so long, it can be a very masculine city, right? You get stuff done and you got to go, go, go. And so with my dad, there has been this power struggle of me feeling like, okay, if he would just do this as a man, so if he's not going to do it, I'm going to do it. Who wants to be out masculine?
Right.
Right. So instead, let me just live in my feminine and be in my flow and let him,
No, and that right there is leading me to think of something else because, my wife, we have a son now. He's 15 months old. I've always said women are superheroes, but until I experienced childbirth, whole thing.
Yeah.
And I studied it in school. So I know what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm as a man, I couldn't do that.
Right.
And I say this often.
I love that you acknowledge
If
that.
reproduction was meant to be up to me, we'd
Right.
be extinct.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
And I just think it's just incredible what happens there.
Yeah.
But I also start finding the battle, because I've seen this in, my parents' relationship or other relationships where the woman starts taking on even more masculine roles, and they forget to be feminine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in the sense of masculine is the power.
Right.
And this is how I'm going to be on top. But if you
Right.
start emasculating men, then they're going to start, and it becomes this back and forth battle.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, no one knows who's what,
Right.
where, and what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
I open the door for a woman sometimes, and they'll be like, "Why are you opening my door? I can do it myself." I'm like, "Dude, I would." I freaked out. I'm
Right.
like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
She's like, "Is it just because I would? If you were a guy, I would have opened the door too." It's
Right.
just kind.
Yeah. It's actually being a decent human being.
So things like that happen, especially in my old corporate life, like
Mhm.
that power struggle and that dynamic's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And it's also, I know wholeheartedly it's part of why I got sick. I was living in my masculine
Mm-hmm.
all the time because I thought I had to. And I like to be in my feminine.
Yeah.
So for me, this past year has been also like awakening that. And it's part of why I love plant medicine. It's just so flowy for me,
Mm-hmm.
particularly ayahuasca. So it's been amazing to awaken the feminine, the divine feminine within me.
Yeah, that's one of my friends told me. Like, she's like, "You're this and this, and all these things are really good. But why don't you just sit and talk to your feminine and ask her what else you need to show up even bigger and get to another level?"
Wow.
So sometimes I sit there and ask, like, what's my feminine thinking? What's it going to do?
That's
And I
amazing.
haven't heard anything yet.
Okay.
But I'm asking for it.
Interesting. She'll probably speak softly.
I hope so.
Yeah. Wow.
So you said something really cool about why you're acting.
Mhm.
And you're like, you want people to feel through you what they can't feel for themselves.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, think about it. Like, I believe we all are inherently empaths,
Mhm.
right? It's just been sort of shut down in some people, or it's not welcomed. And, we all, no matter who we are, I believe, a movie or a film or a commercial or music or art has touched us and created, we evoke this emotion, right? That's what I want to do for people.
Mm.
Yeah, because it's beautiful and emotions are beautiful. And I think often vulnerability is, it's put down sometimes, but
Like a weakness.
yeah, as a weakness. And I know for me growing up, I rarely allowed the vulnerability to be there.
Mm.
And I remember even when I first started acting many, many years ago, struggling with crying. And I realized it was because I was afraid once I turned on that faucet, it wouldn't turn off.
Mm.
And now, I mean, I welcome it. And, I cry pretty often. But the beauty of it is when the emotion comes, I feel it, it flows, and then it dissipates. And so that's my hope, is that it, creates some sort of emotion. It can be felt, and then healing can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Because I've asked other actors, like, why do you do this? And they all have different reasons, but I've never heard it like that. And I really loved how you said it.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's my, I would say my main, there's other reasons as well, but it's, I think humanity as a whole is beautiful, and I think everyone is in pain.
Mm-hmm.
And if this can alleviate the pain through laughter or through crying or whatever it is, then amazing.
We're giving ourselves permission by going and watching or experiencing something.
Yeah.
So now it's not us bringing that up.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
just saying, here, I'm open to this. What is it going to make me feel?
Right.
And if we actually take that a little bit further and say, like, how can I apply that to life?
Right.
Because I'll watch This Is Us just ended. I loved it.
Yeah.
Every time Randall cries,
Oh man.
I'm just like,
so good.
my
Yeah.
wife's just died. She looks at me like, I'm not crying. You're crying. Where's the tissue?
Yep.
Like, we just love it. It was just
Yeah.
the emotional roller coaster that show is.
Beautiful.
And the other thing you said about just letting it flow over you and through you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll try to hold it. And I hold it in my throat. My throat hurts really bad. But then it lasts so much longer.
Right.
And you just let it out. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. 9 times out of 10, like it stays stuck, right? It has to go somewhere.
Mhm.
So would you rather it just like flow naturally or move to, you know, like your hip and then that hardens and becomes anger and that, right? So.
And you get cancer
Right.
or arthritis
Right.
or all these other things that
Yep.
are, you know, it's a whole nother science of
Yeah.
do we allow ourselves to express our emotions
Mm-hmm.
and where are we sending them?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, I've always been very sensitive, like
Mhm.
super sensitive. And I've always been an athlete. So I'm an athletic guy too. And there's times where I was just told like, no, don't do that. Or don't be sensitive or don't get butt hurt.
Right.
Or I was in a relationship with someone. She's like, you shouldn't be crying. That's not manly. That's not how you show up.
Yeah.
And I started hardening because of that and being more invulnerable and putting up these armors. And people would be like, well, you're very intimidating. I'm like, well, I'm trying to read the room, but it's because I had to build some stuff up because I was always told you shouldn't be sensitive.
Yeah.
You shouldn't show emotion and you shouldn't be vulnerable. So I'm on this whole journey to get back to that point.
That's amazing. What was like the catapult for change for you?
A few things. One, it kept showing up. And there was a point where I used to write blogs and it was like my fitness and my nutrition and my way of thinking about life. Like life is now, you know, it's never the right time to make it the right time. This type of mindset, positive mindset, emotional intelligence stuff prior to what it is now. And then just over time, I hardened it and that wasn't there anymore. Then I was finally, you know, I was in finance doing really well. Long story short, I used to define my life by what success is: money, and toys, and things. And oh, you have a nice watch and some big rims. Like you're successful. Yeah. But now it's like, no, success should be defined how I feel inside. And yeah, those things are nice, but that shouldn't define who I am. With or without them, I should be the same person.
That's right.
And I went to, you know, I finally said yes. And I went to an emotional intelligence workshop, did some work, and started going back to like, oh, I used to have these tools and I never read personal development books. I never read any of this stuff in this space. And I was realizing like some of us have it more than others, but that is our normal operating system. Right. Right. That's actually our default. Yeah.
But yeah. It's too scary for people now.
Yeah. Well, again, it's easier to be a victim. It's easier to get angry, you know, flip someone off for whatever they did and then not actually like, what am I being triggered right now? What's happening to me here?
How can I be the one that's wrong?
Exactly.
Right.
But most people aren't trying to do something to us.
Yeah.
They're just doing their life and don't realize you're there.
Right. Yeah. It's the other day I was going hiking and I got out of my car and I like opened the door to see if I was parked correctly. And this car was coming around and was like, you left the door open, and started cursing at me. And I started to be like, I can't, and then I was like, oh no, I did. That was actually dangerous. She could like, you know, and so instead of like making her wrong for cursing at me, I was like, well, sorry, you know, and like, it felt good to own that instead of, you know, because I think there would have been a time that would have pissed me off and ruined my morning, and, you know.
Yeah, and go back and forth like, you opened the door, like, yeah, but I just parked, I'm getting out. Right. You pulled in and didn't check. Like, you can go back and forth.
Totally.
There's a battle of who's right. Like, look, I'm done. I'm not going to have that last word. And then you carry that all day. And it's contagious. The next person you talk to and the next person you talk to. Yeah.
And it's like, I remember for a long time, success was my definition of I will be happy when, right? And now, through everything I've been through the last couple of years with my health, I choose peace over all of it, because wealth without health means nothing, right? So what in every day and every moment I keep trying, and it's keyword try, right? I keep trying to go back to, okay, what will bring me the most peace? And if that means to someone I look like I'm not standing my ground, I choose me. And what me wants is peace, you know? And like, think if we all, if we all knew what our values were, right? Like peace is one of my top values. If we all knew what they were and went from that place, think of what could happen.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a lot of us don't know what our value operating system is.
Yeah. But I think it changes too.
Yeah,
Right?
we grow as we evolve, as we
Yeah. Yeah. Today, for me, it might be peace and adventure and joy. But, in a couple months, it might be something else. It might be family. It might be, so I think being open to not being stuck in one way is the way I try to choose to live.
Yeah, and trying is actually doing.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think your values are? Do you know?
Right now, for sure. I like that you said they shift and they change.
Totally.
And they evolve.
Yeah.
But again, as a new dad,
What's your son's name?
his name is Remy.
Remy?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
He's oh my God, I can't even tell you. I'm so in love.
Oh.
And yesterday, my wife went to a dinner and had him with her. And I was like, oh, I miss him. Like, I miss him so much. I'm like, that's the first time I'm like, wow, he's just away. And I'm like missing him so much. Because I do morning, I do bedtime.
Uh-huh.
Wife does everything in between during the day because I'm working.
Yeah.
Which is hard to just leave him also.
Mm-hmm.
But presence is really one of them.
Yeah.
For a multitude of things that I'm doing and operating in right now. But it's presence because I have to be as present as possible for him.
That's right.
Because it's so easy to, I'm on the phone again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the phone again. I just got to get this email real quick. And all of these things are important.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how trivial they are in that moment, that is very important to me.
Totally.
But it's realizing like, I'm in this thing. Let me step out of that because he's looking at me.
Yeah.
Or my wife and I are trying to tell each other like, hey, we're doing those things we don't want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So presence is important. And then communicating, trying to be as clear as possible.
Yes.
Because I think way faster than words come out.
Uh-huh. That's how my husband is too.
And sometimes it comes out, I've been told, with like a tone or an inflection or something that is not what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
It's just I spit it out.
Yeah. That's interesting because my husband and I deal with that. And we, I've been diving into something called human design. Do you know about human design? It's cool. But what's interesting about it is you find out your sort of operating systems. And so both my husband and I have something called non-emotional. We're non-emotional. And so what that means isn't like what it sounds. What it actually means is if you were to walk into the room and let's say you were angry, but you were at a 3, because I'm non-emotional, would pick up on your anger and actually feel it at a 10. And so what that can look like as an empath, right? Or as non-emotional is, oh my God. And I'll feel it in my body and I'm like making it a thing. And so because my husband and I both have that, he'll walk in at a 3, I'll feel him at a 10. I try to match his 10. He feels my 10 at a 20. And so it becomes this thing. So what we've started doing is going, hey, I'm feeling you happy at a 3. I'm feeling you at a 10. Is that correct? And he'll say, no, I'm at a 3. Or that could be with anger. That could be with any emotion. So we like cut it off in the beginning just to be sure. And so I'm curious with you, if you're coming in saying the thing, if your wife is like picking up on it and goes, hey, I'm feeling this. Is this right? But it sounds like that's kind of like what you guys are doing.
I'm going to have to dive into this.
Oh my God, it's cool. Yeah.
Because it's resonating.
Yes.
Because then it's like, boom, and then she reacts, and then it escalates and escalates.
Totally.
And
when like you guys may have
fragmented.
Right.
And then giving each other permission, hey, I'm fragmented right now, like pause, like we need to end this conversation.
Yes.
It's going nowhere.
Yes.
And no one's right or wrong. And then we both want to be right.
100%. How long have you guys been together?
6 years. We're going to be married 4 years in September.
Okay, nice.
Not as long as you guys.
No, but still, like, look, that's still long. So yeah, I would be so curious. That's like one of the things that I said to my husband is, okay, we need to have new ground rules for when we argue. We're allowed to have a timeout. I'm allowed to regulate my nervous system. So I'll like start tapping or something, but like give me 10 minutes to figure out what I'm feeling. And then we check in, like, I felt you at this. Is this right? Because he'll sometimes tell stories about me and go, oh my God, you were so angry. Remember, like to our friends, like she was so angry. And I'm going, no, I wasn't. Like truly, I was like a 4.
Yeah.
He's like, no. And so it's just because we're both not emotional. So anyways, I'd be so curious to know about you and your wife.
No. After this, I want to get the information for sure.
Yeah.
And the other thing about setting these ground rules, and my wife and I have done therapy, not because we have issues, we want to go
It's a good thing.
deal with it
Yeah.
before there's ever any issues.
Exactly.
Plus, we have a kid. We want to be the best us for him. Because at the end of the day, they're going to learn by looking at us. It's not by me.
Totally.
You don't say please, say please. You just say please.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole nother learning thing that's now happening to make us better people.
Yeah.
But one of the things we learned in therapy is like, we say we're fragmented, but also like learn to take a time out, which is really hard because it spirals.
Totally. And we want to be right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But then actually ask ourselves, is this actually a thing? What's happening?
Yeah.
Because 9 out of 10 times it's not even a thing.
Mm-hmm. I know. So what are we doing?
Nothing.
Right. Right.
It's pointless.
It's so pointless.
Yeah, it's just a waste of energy.
Right. And think of how that energy could be used to something so much more productive. Right.
Like folding the laundry.
Yeah. Cleaning, anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that. Thank you so much. That's been amazing so far. I want to ask you my favorite question. We're going to go into that next topic.
Okay.
How do you define living a life through love?
I love that. Living a life through love. It sounds cliche, but being the change you wish to see. For me, especially in the entertainment industry, there were times I would do things for fellow actors or models or whoever because A, first of all, it was just like my default. It's who I am. But then B, like if I were in that situation, I would hope someone would do that thing for me. And so I think it's through being, not telling. I like to talk a lot. And may I be the change? May I be the example? And yeah, so that's what it means to me.
Yeah, it is about showing up the way you want to see the world.
Yeah, I remember when my mom passed, she was on her deathbed. I was with her and I asked her, I was like, Mama, how am I going to go through life without? Because she's my best friend. We talked every day, multiple times a day. Like, how do I go on? What do I do? And she said, fall in love every day with as many things and experiences and people as possible, because a heart full of love is a heart that's full. And so I try to carry that with me as well. So that's part of it as well.
Again, I love that too. I'm just sitting here saying, I love everything you're saying. Thank you. Does you fall into that equation?
Takes work. Takes a lot of work. So, I shared, I had my first experience with plant medicine in December of 2020 and spent a lot of ceremonies working on trauma and trauma in the body, and have also spent several ceremonies with the intention, may I fall deeply, madly in love with myself. And what that looks like for me is witnessing my shadow, right? My ego, these qualities about myself that are normally cringeworthy, and going, oh, you did that because you were scared. Oh, that's precious. You did that because you wanted love or you wanted attention. And so it's taken a lot of work and continues to take a lot of work. I've had many healers as of late say the reason the fibroid tumors are still there is because of what's here. And I've really been diving into that. And one day recently, last week, I wrote down my thoughts for a day. And so I carried around a piece of paper and just started writing down. And I've done this years ago, but I hadn't done it lately. And I realized anytime I ate anything that wasn't super healthy, the thought that came into my mind as I took this sip of coffee or, bite of food, is this going to cause the tumor to grow? And so while that may not look like self-hatred necessarily, it's not self-love. I'm not saying you are healthy, you are whole, you are healed now. I'm saying, oh my God, it's creating fear. And, if fear is the opposite of love in a way, then how can I shift that? And so I've been trying every day. Have you ever done mirror work?
Mm-mm.
It's
Maybe like one exercise with a partner in some case, but not like
with yourself, like looking into your beautiful eyes and, the pupils and your iris, all of it. So I've been trying to do that, really like gazing into my eyes, seeing the little girl, seeing the strong warrior, seeing all the parts of me and saying, I love you. You are worthy. You are worthy of being healed now. I was saying every day and every way I am healing, but that puts it out here. So I've shifted it to go every day and every way I am healed now. So, I say all of that to say it is not always easy, but I am trying to give myself the love that I so freely give to others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. And the point of these conversations is we operate out of love or we operate out of fear, right? And if we choose to react, we're in the fear mode. And if we choose to respond, take it in, acknowledge it, and choose the words you're telling yourself, like you so eloquently said, we are now operating in love.
Right.
You have to choose it every time.
Yes, it's a choice. Happiness is a choice. Love is a choice. Yeah. But I think, we just forget that. And that's what I keep coming to is like, that's what life is. We forget, so maybe remember, right? We forget who we innately are, so maybe remember. And when we forget, maybe remind each other, And that's what you're doing through this.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's not get lost in life. Let's get present in life and realize that it's for us. It is us. It's what we're doing. It's not having at us. Right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And where can everyone find you?
I'm most active on the gram. So at Noel_Elie. And you can check out my website, noelelieproductions.com. But I would say the gram is where I'm at mostly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
See you there.
Thanks.